inspiration to a lot of us and helping us to fulfill our dreams.
His name is George Daniels.
George Daniels, famed Chicago record retailer who opened his doors to many black artists and icons for over 50 years. Visiting George's music room was a must for those who came to Chicago. With his magnetic personality, George reached the pinnacle of success, but the course of life takes many turns. And he still remains Uncle George, the music man.
I'm George Daniels. Welcome to my world. I've sat with kings and queens and presidents and paupers. I've sat with everybody. He's one of the most special people that I think I've ever met in my life. Well, I got the privilege to know and be mentored by probably one of the top 5 people that are the most interesting people on the planet.
Uncle George, man, so glad to have you here, man.
Thank you.
Thank you, man. You know, like the godfather of Chicago, there's so much I can learn from you, so much the world to learn. Your story needs to be told, and I'm glad we're taking the steps. I want to get straight to it. Start at the beginning. Like, how did you even get the idea to start up George's Music Room?
Many references. 1964, I graduated high school in Chicago. And I was hanging out that fall, and I meet this young lady. We started liking one another. She had one more year at Hyde Park High School in Chicago. She sang backdrop for Muddy Waters, Etta James, Ramsey Lewis, and Chess Records. As a reference point, Chess Records, it was depicted in the movie Cadillac Records. By me hanging out with Minnie, we were dating. I took her to a prom and so on and so forth. I was at the studio a lot. Next thing you know, one thing led to another. Her manager, who was Billy Brocal Davis. Actually, he was one of the founders of Motown with Berry Gordy. He gave me a job there, and I was cleaning up the studios. Next thing you know, just like in Cadillac Records, Beyonce portrayed Etta James. Well, I was Etta James' driver, locally in Chicago, when I was 18. So I got to understand artists quite well. And so the relationship really carried forth once I did open George's Music Room.
Where did that idea even come about?
I was hired by this man, his name was Jimmy Manette. He owned One Stop Records. He had a chain of record shops called Mooseville Records on the south side and so on and so forth. And he was an incredible black man. One thing led to another. He came with an idea called Mobile One Stops. It was myself and a group of other young men. We all had our own receipt books with our names. I had George's One Stop in my car. Back in those days, in our neighborhoods, we had all these mom and pop stores, because that's where we shopped at. No place else serviced us. And one of the products they would sell would be records. I would charge 57 cents for 45. They usually sold for $1. I was selling close to $100,000 a month of records out of the trunk of my car. And so we kind of controlled the marketplace. And so one idea led to another. My boss bought this one store, kept it open for a while. He wanted to close it. I asked, I said, "Did I get this place?" He would go talk to the landlord. And I convinced this landlord to give me 90 days credit on the rent. That was December 12th, 1969, if I'm not mistaken.
So George's Music Room was born. George would embrace and inspire local recording artists who would later become some of the music industry's most iconic stars of today.
Tell us how you influenced Chicago artists.
It didn't come from just the store. It came from my involvement in the business. There were trade organizations going on in the industry, and it was records and radio, meaning those are the 2 important factors. We weren't included. Because of my relationships in the industry in Chicago, I mean, everybody's seen the Black Godfather, Clarence Avant, the documentary. Well, he was one of my mentors here in Chicago. And him and Ernie Lena and all these other gentlemen, they were the guys that made things happen. I was this dude with a record store. Because of those influences, I got involved in the other side of the industry, which was Jack the Rapper, B.R. Reed, Urban Network. Here in Chicago, we had Midwest Radio and Music Conference. So these were the places where record labels would bring the new artists and so on and so forth. And I got involved, and so I would meet all these artists when they were brand new.